Today is a huge day as we are packing up and heading our way over to Australia for an entire year. That's right, we're going down under and we're doing it on a budget with Air China. In this vlog, I'm breaking down all the details, the costs, the visa information, the free transit hotel, plus our full flight experience. It's going to be a long journey, so buckle up and let's get into it. Good morning from London Gatwick Airport. It is going to be a very sad day as we've had to say bye to our families as we are heading over to Sydney, Australia. So it's really exciting, but at the same time, it is obviously very sad to say goodbye. We're going to be flying with Air China, and the reason for this is because it is a lot cheaper than many other airlines. So it's only costing us £375 to get from Gatwick to Australia, which I think is crazy. So let me tell you a little bit about the flight, starting off with our first leg as we travel from London Gatwick to Beijing. So that's going to take us around 10 hours and 5 minutes, and we'll arrive at about 5:40 a.m. their time. We then have a 20-hour layover in Beijing. Now, one good thing about Air China is that it offers a free transit hotel. So we've got 20 hours in that hotel so we can have a shower, brush our teeth, and also get a sleep if we would like to. Then at 1:40 a.m. Beijing time, we're going to be heading back to the airport to get onto our second flight. So that is going to take us around 11 hours. So we will arrive in Sydney at around 2:50 their time. That means the total journey time is around 41 hours. So it sounds horrific. However, 20 of those hours you are treated to a nice free transit hotel. And later on, I'll show you just what that is like. In terms of luggage, you actually get two 23-kilogram cases each. You also get one 5-kilogram hand luggage, and you also get one laptop bag or backpack or something like that. So you've got loads of space for luggage, which is good. And also we got to pick our seats, which is amazing because most other airlines, you've obviously got those hidden fees where you have to select a seat, but it's going to cost you a little bit more. Whereas with Air China, we got to pick our seat and it was all completely free. So £375 each makes it up to 750, which isn't bad at all. So we woke up very early at about 5 a.m. this morning, and it was a hell of a trek to get here, but we are finally here. Feeling a little bit tired, just said bye to best parents too, which was very sad, but we did manage to get a nice little breakfast in just before they left. Then we checked in at the check-in desks E, so that is where Air China is based, and it probably will be the same if you take the same flight. And they did actually check our passports and also our visa, so do make sure you have the visa. We are going to be staying in Australia on the working holiday class 417 visa, and it's cost us 635 Australian dollars each, so it's about £300, so fairly expensive, but that does last the whole year. And obviously with the flight just being £375 too, it is very affordable. Obviously that flight is one way, so if you did have to go back, then it would probably be another £375. I have got a video coming out soon which goes through the working holiday visa, so if you do have any questions on that, hopefully I can help you out in a later video. But now we are in the airport waiting for our flight. We had to walk through duty free, and I have to say it's probably one of the biggest duty frees that I've seen. There's loads of stuff, and obviously we did the usual little spray as you go round, and then there's loads of places where you can get food, WH Smith's, Boots, all that once you get through too. So if you do need that, then that is good. If you are struggling to find a seat in the main area, then do make sure to just walk down towards the gates, because there's loads of free gates where there's just literally no one in them. So you've got plenty of space if you want to lie out, and there's also like charging and plug sockets over on that far end over there. So the passports are sorted and they've scanned our boarding pass. We're now about to head onto the plane. So in we go. The flight was pretty full, nearly every seat taken, but we can't complain with how cheap the flights were. Surprisingly decent legroom, plus in-flight entertainment, USB socket, and even plug sockets for laptops. You can also recline and adjust your headrest, so not bad at all. When we first got on, it was so warm though. The sun was beaming straight through the windows, heating up the cabin. So we're boarded, settled down, a decent amount of legroom, which is good news, and now in 10 hours time, we'll be in Beijing. Takeoff time. Our 10-hour flight had officially begun. Not long after, the crew came around with drinks. The usual options of soft drinks, juices, a bit of wine if you fancy it. The entertainment system was okay. Not quite Virgin or Qantas level, but still plenty of options. Hollywood shows like Iron Man, Napoleon, and The Greatest Showman. They even had TV shows, and I was actually quite impressed with these. The Traitors UK, the latest season, was on there. The music section leaned heavily towards Asian artists, so not a ton of Western hits, but that's fine, as I usually stick to my Spotify downloads anyway. And yes, you can control the lights, call the crew, and check the flight maps, all from your screen. The toilet was like any other toilet you'd have on a plane, cramped, but it does the job. It did stay quite warm though throughout the whole flight, so I did have to ditch my jumper pretty early on. Then came the first meal. Beth's arrived first. She ordered the vegan option. She got a salad, fruit salad, bread with vegan butter, and a hot dish of veggies and rice. Her verdict? Yeah, it's okay. For the rest of us, the choice was chicken and rice or beef and rice. Pro tip, the further back you sit, the more likely they'll run out of your first choice. I went for chicken and rice, and honestly, pretty decent for plain food. Dessert was a little Black Forest Gâteau too, so not complaining about that. A couple of hours before landing, breakfast rolled around. Beth's vegan meal actually looked really good, with chickpeas, tomatoes, spinach, mushrooms, plus a bread roll, fruit salad, and a Now Pro yogurt. So not bad at all to end the flight. And for the meat eaters, breakfast was Chinese pork noodles or chicken sausage with egg and a hash brown. You also got a croissant, a little chocolate pudding, and a strawberry yogurt on the side. Honestly, as nice as plain food gets. So that was a solid way to wrap up our long haul flight. We've arrived at the capital of China, that is Beijing, and we've just gone through all of the passport security, and I'll tell you about that just now. So in terms of the card which you need to fill out for your 24-hour visa, you need to make sure that you're not looking at the signs pointing you to arrival card. You'll be given an arrival card too on the flight. This is the wrong form. So the one that I'm showing up right now is the wrong form. So if you fill that out, they'll make you do the other one again. So instead of going to the arrival card section, you actually need to walk to the 24-hour transit visa section, where it looks like this. So it's got arrival card for temporary entry foreigners along the top. You need to fill in that top section, you don't need to fill in the bottom section, and then you take that through to security. They'll do the rest for you, and then you'll be allowed through. You then can collect your bags if you are collecting your bags. However, in our case, our bags are going straight through and we've just got our hand luggage with us. So I definitely recommend doing that and filling up your hand luggage bag with all the stuff you need for the transit hotel. You'll then be led through a couple of doors down to the bottom where there's like a tube/metro. That'll take you through to the next section, and then we are now out here at the exit to Terminal 3 of the Beijing International Airport. Just look at the size of this airport though, it is absolutely huge, especially compared to the airports we're used to, like Bristol, but it's a really nice airport, so I'm looking forward to getting back here tomorrow and taking our flight to Sydney. The whole process to get to this point took us around 1 hour, so the longest bit is the card. For some reason it's really an inefficient way of doing it. It takes them forever to type in all the details and stuff before they actually allow you through the security, and then after that it's just a long walk to get to the exit, and it was quite a long taxi runway too for the plane to get from landing strip to the terminal itself. The process was slightly different to Shenzhen, so if you are flying into Shenzhen rather than Beijing, you can go and check out the other video, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. But now we're going to try and hail a cab using the DD app, so I definitely recommend you downloading this and also downloading all of the Chinese language on Google Translate, so you can use that too, because they don't speak that much English. I also recommend you getting an eSIM, and to make sure that you activate it before you leave the country, because once you're here you need Wi-Fi to actually be able to activate the eSIM itself. So I do it just before you get onto the flight, and we use the app Airalo, so I'll leave a little discount code up here right now which you can use. So what we did was we got a 1 GB Chinese eSIM, and that only cost us £3 with our discount code that we used. But like I said, now it is time to book our taxi on the DD app to take us to our transit hotel. I'm not sure how long it's going to take or how much it costs, but I'll let you know once we arrive at the hotel. One thing to remember with the DD app is that once you have booked it, you actually pay for it after the ride. So you don't pay for it before, you won't get the notification like you do on Uber or Grab or anything else. You actually pay after, because they'll send you basically a payment link. But we're now at the e-hailing spots. It took us a few minutes to walk over to there where we'll be getting a taxi. Finally, after a 15-minute taxi ride to the hotel, we arrived here at the Kaizeng Xingfeng International Hotel, where we've come for our breakfast, as it is now 7 a.m. So it's free breakfast with the hotel too, which is really good news. And it was really easy and quick to check into the hotel too. So we've got our keys and then we can go straight in, and we've got it until we leave later on, which is good. So let's give it a try. Bit of Chinese breakfast. It's reminded me of when the first time we arrived in Shenzhen about 9 months ago, and I tried some of these exact bao buns. So let's see if they're just as good. They are good. I think that's just a steamed bao bun though, so I think that does actually need some form of sauce to it. It's not actually got anything in it at all. It's just the bao bun itself. But I think this one should be like a bean bun, I believe, or maybe like a pork one. We'll have to see what's in this one. This is a pork one. Look at how good that looks. These are what I miss, especially when we're in the UK. Very rarely can you get bao buns from anywhere. So I'm happy to be back here in China. I've also got myself a little dough stick. Basically just like a churro, to be honest. Tastes really good. Gonna enjoy our breakfast, and then I'll show you the transit hotel room in just a moment. Food was all right, but unfortunately they don't really have any drinks, which was the same with Shenzhen. It's really strange. We were looking around and looking at everyone that was having breakfast, and no one had a drink with their breakfast, and there was no like juices like you do usually have in the UK. But we have come into the room and we're pleasantly surprised with how nice the room is. So let me show you around, starting off with the bathroom. So we've got sink, the mirror, and the shower just there, which is great news, so we can have a shower before we get onto our next flight. There's the toilet. You've got cupboards, there's a dressing gown in there and a safe if we need it. Obviously we're only here for 20 hours. And then look at the size of this room. So we've got a bed each, one for me, one for Beth. We've got like a little reading chair over there, desk space, and a TV with the Wi-Fi box. So can't really complain at all. And it's actually a decent looking view outside too. And it's not too bad a day in terms of weather either. Nice blue skies, if I can render that in. There we go. Nice blue skies, although it does look a little bit smoggy. And it has got like quite a musky smell actually in this room too. I look like a bit of a silhouette right now. But we're just going to chill out now, have a quick nap, probably like 2-3 hours, have a shower too, do our teeth, get nice and freshened up, and maybe we'll go out into Beijing, but we'll have to see if we've got enough time and how far the actual centre is from the airport, because it feels like we're a little bit far out. I actually tried to get a video of the city as we were landing because it looked amazing. All the lights were out, but unfortunately, because of the reflection from the window into the actual plane, it looked rubbish. So unfortunately, couldn't get a great video of that, but I'll update you once we're showered and we've had a nice little nap. In terms of whether I'd recommend Air China as an airline so far, I'd definitely say yes, because it's £375 to get to Sydney, which is crazy. Obviously it's one way, but to get this transit hotel, free breakfast, you get a free transfer back to the airport later on, so can't really complain. So we've just been to sleep for a couple of hours and we're probably feeling a lot worse now, to be honest, because it's about 4 a.m. in the UK right now, whereas here in Beijing it is about 1 p.m. So we're going to head out into Beijing. However, I'm not going to actually include it in this vlog. So if you do want to check that out, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and that should hopefully be in the next vlog. But instead, Gonna have a shower, get ready, and go to the airport. We're now clean, ready, and just about to go and check out from the hotel. And thankfully, we don't actually have to book a taxi to take us back to the airport. They're gonna do that for us. So I'll see you once we get there. And that is going to be it for Beijing. Short, but we actually really enjoyed it, so definitely recommend going. We're now back here at Terminal 3, so we dropped off just then by our hotel minibus, which was like a transfer. That was free with the flight back to the hotel, which is good. And now we're going to head straight to security because we don't actually need to check in, as we left all of our bags from the previous flight, which is good. So we had a quick security check as we actually walked in. They gave us like a little swab thing, which they patted on all our suitcases and bags, I think just to check for like any explosive matter. But we're now making our way up to, I believe, the 4th floor where departures will be, because we're on a B at the moment, and this looks like the arrivals because we came here yesterday. So I think we need to go up another floor to get up to the top, which I believe is departures. This terminal is huge, I have to say. I've never seen any terminal this big. Take a look at this. And if this is Terminal 3, I hope Terminal 2 and Terminal 1 aren't just as big. But if you look in the background, there's some cool like Asian style buildings. So we'll go check that out before going through security check, through to the other side, and then we'll be getting on our flight very shortly. Not much of it looks very open, to be honest, but it looks like a little bit of the food court could go up there. I'm not too sure what it is, to be honest. A few shops down here too, which are closed, and a currency exchange. But now it is time to head over to security. And what we thought was quite interesting was that Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan have all been classed as international departures. So I wonder how long it will stay that way, especially for Hong Kong. We are through security and now going to be waiting for a train to take us to the next stop. Well, it's sort of like a tube little thing that takes us to the actual gates themselves. Everything seems a little bit dead right now because it is currently 11:30 at night and our flight is actually at 1:40 a.m. Security checks were quite thorough as well, and they didn't actually have any scanners where you could leave your laptop in your bag, so you had to take all your laptops out, which was annoying. Off the tram, straight into passport security. That's all sorted really nice and quickly, and we have arrived here at Beijing departures. Look at how cool that looks. It does seem like everything is shut right now, which isn't really ideal because there's not much we can do about it. Cool little Chinese thing there. It's like sort of like a pavilion. But if you have a look around, all the shops are closed. Got Coach, MCM, Michael Kors, Marc Jacobs, etc. all down here, but it's all closed. Costa Coffee looks open though. So at least we can get some food or some drinks if we do want to. As you come out of the security too, if you turn left, there is a toilet and also a water fountain, so you can go and refill any water bottles if you need to. We've managed to find a map and it's not actually that big. Bear in mind it's an international airport, but there's actually 10 restaurants. They're all the 10 different restaurants. Then there's all these shops here so you can pause it if you want to see. And then they've got like the currency exchange, the post office, etc. And that is the map, so you can pause it if you find that useful. Settled down now at the Goose Island tap room. We're gonna sit here and wait for our flight, but what we've done is we've ordered some chips whilst we're at it, and they cost us 48 yen, which is about £4 to £5, so not expensive at all. But look, this is the most Chinese thing I have to say I've seen so far. They've given us gloves so that we don't have to get all the salt and stuff on our fingers and ketchup, which is perfect. So we're going to enjoy the chips and then head over for our flight. So we've made our way over to the gate and we're now waiting in the queue to board. And I have to say, the queue is massive. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. So I think it might be a full flight again. And unfortunately, we'll probably have someone sat next to us. We are through and we're about to board the plane. So in 11 hours time, I'll be on my 33rd country, I believe, which will be Australia in Sydney. The flight again was pretty full, which I actually think is quite unusual for a long haul flight. This time though, it was a different plane. It felt a little bit older, not quite as comfy, and the seats sat noticeably lower. Still, the legroom was about the same, so no complaints there. For our first meal of the flight, we had the choice between a Chinese chicken pie or a ham and cheese panini. I went for the panini, and it actually came with a little bag of nuts, some crackers, and a yogurt with a straw. Beth had her vegan option, potatoes with veg with a lime wedge and crackers. She said it was alright, but just a bit on the minimal side. Entertainment-wise, it was exactly the same as the previous flight, same movies, same shows, same layout. Then just before landing, it was time for our second meal. The meat options were fish and rice or spicy chicken with rice. I obviously went for the fish, as I can't handle spice, but it was really nice. It came with a bun and butter, plus a little bowl of cucumber and some melon. Best vegan meal this time was potatoes and veg again, with a bread roll, butter and a fruit salad. She said it was alright, the potatoes were actually quite tasty. After 11 long hours, we finally touched down in Sydney, my first time ever here in Australia. Can't tell you how excited I was to finally be here. And we've arrived in Sydney, Australia. It's the first time I've ever been to Australia, but Beth has been before. The flight was painful, but we did manage to get here, which is good. However, unfortunately, one of the suitcases has lost its wheel, which is not ideal. So we're gonna go and ask about that and see if we can get that sorted. So unfortunately, because the wheel broke, we had to go to the baggage desk, and they basically said that they'll either compensate us for the price of the suitcase or they will fix it at their repair centre. Unfortunately, this case was not worth much as we bought it in Vietnam just a couple of months ago. So they'll probably end up compensating us for the price of the suitcase, and then I won't be able to buy one for the same price. I'm gonna have to spend more on a suitcase, which is very annoying. Security was also nice and easy to go through, which was good. However, you do need to know that if you're bringing in any food, so things like fruit, nuts, herbs, spices, all that sort of stuff, it is most likely going to get taken off you because they are very strict on those sort of things. At this point, you'll also need to hand in your incoming passenger card. So you'll be given that whilst you're on the plane, so you've got all the time to fill that out, which is good just before landing because there's a couple of pages, only a small little card too, so it's not that difficult. You'll need like your passport details, where you're staying, and other things like that. So really nice and easy form to fill in. But it is now time to get out there and explore Australia. So there's gonna be plenty more vlogs exploring all of the different places here in Australia, and also we'll be heading over to places like New Zealand, hopefully Fiji too, and maybe a few of the other countries down there. But if you did enjoy this one, you should go and check out the last vlog where we had a full day in Bangkok, and we even went up to the tallest rooftop bar in this city. Or you can go and check out all of my other vlogs in the Worldwide Vlogs playlist. So you've got plenty to pick from.